Hello, Dr. Ray, and welcome to all of you on this call, the Redox Connection. Welcome back. So we are going to go straight to the point, because last time we were speaking about what is redox, this new buzzword, why is it important for all of us to know about it. And today instead we're going to start with topics. And the first topic for today is sleep. And we all know how important sleep is for us, but I'm not sure, Dr. Ray, if everyone knows just how important it is for individual health. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So I was doing a little research before we got on the call today, and I was reading this National Center of Biotechnology has done a bit of statistics, and I won't mention it all because it was a list of 50 or more of them. But just looking at the statistics of what an influence lack of sleep has on mental and physical diseases. It's speaking about 75-90% of people that have a lack of sleep are more at risk for serious health issues. Of not only, but it was saying the percentage, which was ridiculous, of accidents, not only on the roads, but even in theaters, in surgery rooms of doctors due to the lack of sleep that they were receiving, right? So it was very fascinating, and I'm going to pass it over to you. And just, again, because we're talking about structure, health, functioning, and the connection with the redox, what is your input on sleep and the importance of sleep?
I would rate it in the top three most important things, most important essential items for well-being. Water's up there, and of course breathing's up there, oxygen. Sleep's not far behind. The most, if not all, of the reparation and healing work for cells in the human body, and you are cells, every organ is cells, takes place in sleep. And there is two divisions of the autonomic nervous system in terms of the body functioning. One's the sympathetic, which most people have heard of as the fear, fright, flight division, but it's also what gives you drive and motivation and energy for the day to get things done. So it's not just fear and flight and fright, it's wake up functioning. And then you've got the parasympathetic. Now, the parasympathetic is rest and digest, reparation, providing the body with nutrition. You digest under parasympathetic domination. If you eat while you're stressed, you're conflicting the two, by the way. So the parasympathetic is the dominant division that's functioning through your sleep patterns and relaxation patterns, whether it's meditation, relaxation, or sleep. So if you are sleep deprived, you are healing deprived.
Wow.
It's a pretty direct way of saying it, and it's actually 100% correct.
Interesting. I always refer to the sleep as like it's a recharge, right? We go about during the daytime and we're doing all our activities, and then we run out of that, and then we have to plug in again and go release everything that needs to be released, and bring in that vital energy once again to restore. So, okay, sleep. Now, there's a difference, because there's some people that just can't fall asleep at night. They just don't go into sleep. But there's others that may fall asleep, but then wake up at those fixed times. I find a lot of people wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then they can't go back to sleep. What's happening there?
Well, the connections are still there with the balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic. To actually sleep well, you need to be able to relax, which is parasympathetic. So that initial letting go to go into sleep is relaxing. It's moving into the parasympathetic domination. If you are too keyed up, anxious, worried, planning what you're going to do the next day, that is sympathetic. So you're actually teaching your mind to be engaged to get things done. Well, that doesn't work for sleep. And some people live in that state. they live in the stress response state, which is sympathetic dominant. So that's why there is so much emphasis on teaching people to relax and do yoga or Tai Chi or any of those modalities to retrain you to become parasympathetic at the appropriate time, because the sympathetic is the appropriate time. So, in terms of not getting to sleep at all, well, you're locked in stress response, sympathetic. In terms of being able to get to sleep, that's probably because they're burnt out, they're totally fatigued. But then they wake up and go back into the stress response because those anxieties are rising up in their sleep. Oh, I've got to deal with this. I've got to plan that. Oh, I'm worried about the other thing. So that will also wake you up and put you back into a sympathetic response. But there are other factors, like, some people become addicted to sugar and their blood sugar levels fluctuate. And when they drop that little bit too much in the middle of the night, you wake up and you have the munchies and you go and eat. There are different factors affecting sleep. We're not covering them all. We couldn't do justice to that in such a short call. We're covering the generic, the big picture. So that gives a bit of a guide. And of course, you've got other issues with age. With gentlemen and prostate issues and having to go to the toilet 3 or 4 times a night. Because the bladder's irritated or the prostate's irritating the urethra and they have to go to the toilet, so they wake up. Whether they get back to sleep or not is the key. If you're relaxed and you get back to sleep, then you will still fully recuperate. But if you then go into thinking mode and planning mode and sympathetic, then you won't get back to sleep so readily. So there's a whole bunch of things interacting, and that's not even talking about the hormonal endocrine side of sleep with melatonin or adrenaline. That's just talking about sympathetic and parasympathetic. But they're linked. They're directly linked.
Right. Brilliant. That makes so much sense. Now, obviously, because we're talking about the redox connection, we understand that there's some imbalances within the body, correct?
Oh, absolutely. If you go deeper, what's behind normal, healthy cellular function, including the balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic division, including hormonal balance, because hormones are directly involved in this too. Well, what underpins them all? Redox signaling molecules. Redox signaling molecules are responsible for endocrine hormonal balance. They're responsible for whether your melatonin's going to work correctly from the pineal gland at night time to go to sleep. They're responsible for adrenaline and noradrenaline from your adrenal glands to fire you up and put you into sympathetic mode to deal with the workload of the day. This is all underpinned by redox molecules.
Wow.
The neurotransmitters involved in relaxation, parasympathetic, the neurotransmitters involved in sympathetic responses, involved in the fear, fright, flight, they are underpinned by redox molecules. So in some cases, those imbalances are due to imbalances or deficiencies in redox molecules.
Brilliant. Now we're coming back to the point. It's like, when we were asking last time as the introduction, why would I even bother about these redox molecules in my body? This is one of the answers. It's because it runs everything. And if we want, healthy cells, healthy you, right? So if we go down to the core and understanding these imbalances, that's brilliant. Now, because we also want to be a bit practical with sleep, we know, for example, I'm a big coffee lover. And it was very difficult for me to understand because I was just drinking. I was totally oblivious of this divine caffeine that I would have 2-3 hours in Italy, espressos all the time, 5, 6, 10. It was just a social thing of having this caffeine. Little adjustments to our daily routines can have a positive impact, obviously, on our sleep too. Can you just share a moment about coffee?
Well, it's really a moment about caffeine because there's different sources of caffeine. It's not just coffee. Coffee just happens to be the main source. Look, it's been an interesting journey with the understanding of caffeine for a very long time. But again, it's not too difficult to get it into perspective. And it's all about how much. It's not about zero. Okay, 0 is for some people who are hypersensitive to caffeine. And you will notice, by the way, that there is a big difference in terms of reactions of people to caffeine. Some people, if they have a coffee at 12:30 noon, just past midday, they can't sleep that night. I could take a long black and go to bed and sleep fine. But that is a massive difference between people. But work backwards. Caffeine stimulates adrenaline, noradrenaline. It itself directly affects neurotransmitters in terms of the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system. So it is a wake-up substance. It's a focus substance. It's a stimulatory substance. So if you get too much of it, well, you're going to enter a stimulated sympathetic state. So you're going to wind up too much, and then you won't be able to wind down. So it's about dosage. It's about volume. Small amounts of caffeine have been demonstrated to be extremely beneficial to the liver, for example. It's hepatoprotective. Hepato is liver. Hepatic is liver. So, there are benefits to wake. When do you want to wake up the most? In the morning. So when's the most logical time to have some coffee? In the morning. It's not so logical to take it before you go to bed when you want to move into parasympathetic. Right. And if you move beyond a certain dosage level, and you have to find that for yourself. For example, what you said about keeping it in balance is correct. I have 2 coffees in the morning, first thing, kind of breakfast time, and that's it. I have no more coffee for the rest of the day. That's where I've set it. Did I always do that? No. Once upon a time, I would have had 6 or 8 coffees a day. I am not one of those people that can't sleep with caffeine, so that means my liver and my body copes with it better than some. But I just went to first thing in the morning because I knew what the consequences of too much could be, and I didn't want those consequences.
Beautiful. And what I love about this and these conversations that we're having, Dr. Ray, on a larger perspective, is just how we are our best physicians. It's like tapping in and listening to ourselves, because it's not one thing that works the same for everyone, right? So it's really learning to listen to ourselves and to become aware of what the effects are of whatever we're introducing, and if it's caffeine or if it's thoughts or whatever it is, that it is impacting on our overall health. And the second thing that I love about this is that, again, it's balance. And when we have that balance between things, it's not this or that. It's having that balance between things really brings us to that state of wellness. So,
well, that's life. And indeed, balance in human physiology terms is called homeostasis. Mm-hmm. But that's another that people try not to be too confused when you hear the term homeostasis. But it is balance. That's what it physiologically means. Things in balance. So, and the whole body functions on balance in every dimension, in every perspective, whether it's high blood pressure, low blood pressure, high blood sugar, low blood sugar. Everything functions in balance, and there is an optimum.
Beautiful. Loved it. Once again, thank you so much for joining me today and joining us today. We are eager then to go into further topics as we go along, and please share with us if there's topics that you would like to hear about and learn more about this redox connection. Thank you once again, Dr. Ray, and see you soon.
You're welcome. Thank you.